As a former coach and current teacher, I know that sports teach our kids so much more than how to play the game. And they did the same thing for me when I was a kid. While playing sports, I learned the importance of teamwork. I learned what it looks like to be a good loser and a good winner. And I found out about the connection between hard work and feeling pride in what you accomplish, regardless of the score. These lessons have stayed with me long after I left the fields. If you have young children in your life, you don't need to wait for them to get out to the diamonds, rinks, or courts to start learning some of those important lessons. Sideline Monsters Baseball Edition, a new book by Emily Harder, follows a young baseballer as they discover how to stay focused, brave, and joyful, even when the monsters get noisy. The sideline monsters in the story clap too loudly, shout too many instructions, or make funny faces when the game gets close. They don't mean any harm, but they sure can make things confusing. The book is perfect for children ages 4 through 8, but there are plenty of lessons in the story for parents, coaches, and anyone else who is a fan of youth sports. The monsters in the book are silly, the story is empowering, and the ending reminds us all that the game is supposed to be fun. Sideline Monsters Baseball Edition is available wherever you get your books in hardcover, paperback, or digital. And now, on with the show. This is Lessons We Forgot, and this episode is called Two Wolves. Quoting old Native American legends can be tricky. Often the stories that we hear today are attributed to one group of people and said to have been passed down for many generations, when in fact, they were created by someone not associated with any Native community and were used to push an agenda to a modern audience. I struggle with that because a lot of the stories created this way are actually still really good stories. They're interesting and teach valuable lessons, and when I get my own meaning from them, separate from the authors, I don't feel like the original motivation of the person who created the story actually matters much anymore. Still, I feel like I need to acknowledge that this is a common occurrence. More importantly, the story that I'm about to share with you probably falls into that category of tales that I'm warning you about right now. If you do a quick Google search, you'll find it described as an old Cherokee legend. But after I looked into it a little bit more, I'm pretty sure it was invented by Billy Graham in the 1970s for a sermon he gave about good versus evil. Look, I'm not a professional historian or journalist, so I don't want to put any more than my own 2 cents into this conversation about its origin. So I'm just going to say that the authorship of this story is up for debate, and that anyone trying to tie it to any particular Native people would be doing so dubiously. So, after saying all of that, here's the story. A long time ago, a Cherokee elder found his grandson hiding in the woods crying. After he calmed the child down, his grandson explained that his tears were the result of another boy who had treated him unfairly. He had been overcome first with anger, then hate, and finally fear. Taking a long time to consider his words, the old man told this story. He said, "I often feel the same way you do right now. I have felt the same hate for those that take so much from me and feel no regret for what they do. But the hate wears me down, and the hate does not hurt my enemies in any way. Hate is just like taking poison and expecting your enemies to die. I have struggled with these feelings my whole life. Sometimes it feels like there are two wolves inside of me. One wolf is good. He lives peacefully with everyone and does not take offense if no offense was intended. This wolf will only fight when it is the right time and only for a just cause. But the other wolf is full of anger, hate, and fear. The littlest thing sets him off and sparks his temper. He will fight everyone, anytime, and for no reason. He cannot think because his anger and hate take over. The worst part is that his anger serves no purpose because his anger changes nothing. Sometimes it's hard to live with two wolves like this inside me because both of the wolves try to destroy the other and fully take over." The boy, who had listened to the story intently, looked into his grandfather's eyes and asked, "Which wolf will win?" The grandfather responded, "The one that I feed." The moral of the story is, of course, that what we want from ourselves needs to be fed. What we become and what type of person we will be is a conscious choice. Your mindset can dictate your actions. However it is explained, and despite the questionable origins of the story itself, I think we can all agree that the truth behind it is irrefutable. its application to what we are doing here at school is no less true. What type of classroom do you want? One fueled by conflict and power struggles, or one where everyone is given the opportunity to get what they need to thrive? Well, which one are you feeding? If you use fear, intimidation, and shame to get what you want, won't your students do the same? If you model empathy, compassion, and justice, you leave room for your students to do the same for each other. We teach much more than what is in our textbooks and what is outlined in our curriculums. We are tasked with bringing our students across the bridge that takes them from the innocence of elementary school to the more harsh reality of high school. We see them struggling every day with whatever wolves are fighting inside of them, and sometimes it looks all too much like they're feeding the wrong one. Even though it feels like they aren't listening to us and that we aren't reaching them, we are setting an example for what they can become. And when it comes time for them to make the decision about which wolf to feed, we need to be proof that feeding the good wolf will always be the right move. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Lessons We Forgot. I'm the host, Chris Winkle. You can contact me at lessonsweforgot@gmail.com, and you can follow the show or message Lessons We Forgot on Facebook. Either way, I'd love to hear from you and welcome you to our community. If you really enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with a friend. That is the best way to help grow the podcast. If you want to hear more Lessons We Forgot, I post new episodes on Sunday nights. Make sure you subscribe to follow the show on whatever podcast platform you use. And when you rate the show, like an episode, or leave a comment, we can reach even more listeners. If you hate ads just like me, I do have a Patreon site, patreon.com/lessonsweforgot, and for only $1 a month, you can get the show without ads. You can try that out right now for free to see if it's something you'd be interested in. Thanks again for your support.